Welcome to Sustainability Now, an exploration of technologies and paradigms to shape a world that works. Designed for socially conscious entrepreneurs and individuals interested in responsible stewardship of the planet. Sustainability Now covers food, energy, housing, water, waste, health, economics, and consciousness. Welcome to your community, Sustainability Now, with your host, Mira Rubin.
Welcome, everybody, to Sustainability Now, technologies and paradigms to shape a world that works. I'm Mira Rubin, your host, and I am thrilled to be here today with Zen Honeycutt. Zen Honeycutt is unstoppable. In fact, she's written a book with that very title. She's the founder of Moms Across America, with a mission to educate and empower mothers and others with actions and solutions to create healthy communities. She's gone head to head with Monsanto, campaigned against GMOs, and is inspiring people around the world to take action to improve our health and our lives. Zen, it is such a privilege to be here with you today. Thanks so much.
Oh, Mira, thank you. It's my honor, and thank you to all your listeners and viewers. I appreciate it so much.
I am so excited to speak with you because you are a champion of all these seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and you are making incredible headway, and you are an inspiration for people to be able to become activists and make a difference.
Well, thank you so much. And I wouldn't be able to do this without my husband and my kids and the numerous experts that I feel very honored to be able to be in communication with: researchers, scientists, doctors, lawyers, farmers, experts from around the world. And so it's not just me, but I am very excited I'm willing to be the one, right, to speak up about many of these issues. And our main mission is, our motto is Empowered Moms, Healthy Kids. So we really are committed to empowering people, including, everyone, moms and all people, to take action. And so I'm so happy to be able to be with you today to do that.
Well, there's so much I want to talk to you about. So I do want to start with what got you on your journey of activism?
Well, like millions of mothers across the country, I was dealing with my children's health issues. And it was extremely confusing to me because my husband and I were healthy when we were younger. We didn't have allergies and autism and autoimmune issues and asthma like our kids did. And so I was struggling with that. And at one point, my son almost died on Thanksgiving evening from pecans in the stuffing. And for a couple years, we just resolved ourselves to avoiding that. But then after a few years, he said one day, Mom, I wish all my allergies would go away. And I said, me too, buddy, because he had this red rash around his mouth that lasted for weeks. It was painful and blistering, and it was horrible. But in my head, I realized what I was saying was that's not going to happen, because the doctors had told me that it was only going to get worse. So I realized what I was saying to myself in my head, and I thought, wait a second, that's not what I'm committed to. Really seeing myself and my son as small and not able to do anything about it. I thought, what if we could do something about it? I thought about my cousin Sarah, who had gone gluten-free for a year and sort of rebooted her system, and she was then able to eat some gluten now and then. So I shared with my then, I think he was about 9-year-old son, Ben, about that. And I said, would you like to one day be able to eat a slice of pizza at a birthday party? And he said, yes. And I said, well, then would you be my partner in your health? Would you drink green drinks and try alternative health solutions like chiropractic care and all of that? He thought about it seriously, and then he said, yes. So I shook his hand and I said, I promise, buddy, you will get better. When we created that partnership, when he said he would be my partner in his health, I knew that we could be unstoppable and that he would get better. I didn't know how, but we would do things we normally would never have done if we hadn't made that promise to each other. So we went on to learn about GMOs and, genetically modified organisms, which were a new thing. They just been around for about 20 years now. So he had been eating GMOs pretty much his whole life. I never had, I wasn't when I was a kid. My husband didn't. So that was a new thing for us. And those GMOs can irritate the stomach lining. It can, they're a foreign protein. They also come with glyphosate, which is the declared active chemical ingredient in Roundup. And so we learned all about this within 4 months. And we removed all GMOs from his diet. Within 4 months, his diet was dramatically improved. And within 2 years, about a year or two of going organic, his allergies went from a 19 down to a 0.2. No longer has life-threatening allergies. My other son also recovered from autism symptoms. Our kids basically almost never go to the doctor anymore. And we've saved hundreds of thousands of dollars on autism therapies and healthcare issues because we have gone organic.
I just have to stop you for a second.
Sure, yeah.
Because you said something that people are going to be reeling from, is that you cured your son of autism.
Well, he had autism. I just want to be clear. He had autism symptoms. Yeah. And within 6 weeks, we at the time of the autism symptoms, he also had glyphosate in his urine. And glyphosate can destroy the beneficial gut bacteria and allow for the proliferation of pathogenic gut bacteria. That pathogenic gut bacteria then signals the vagus nerve in your gut to go up to your brain and say, go and attack. And that attack can create glutamate, which is an excitotoxin, which can excite the brain neurons, and eventually they die. So then you no longer have those connections, those neuronal connections happening. And that's when my son started being angry, aggressive, lack of eye contact. His grades went from A's to D's. All of a sudden, math was hard for him. He just wasn't doing it. And we're like, something's going on here. So we took him to the doctor, and the doctor said, I'm going to test him for fungus and bacteria in his urine. And I said, why are you going to do that? He said, because the bad bacteria in the gut can lead to inflammation in the brain, which is exactly.
Did you have a naturopathic doctor?
He was an autism doctor, and we were going to him because he was okay with spacing out the vaccine schedule, just doing like one at a time. And I didn't go to him because my kids had autism, but he just happened to be an autism doctor. And so he said, this is what's happening in the gut. And I thought, wow, glyphosate does that. So I told him all about that. And around the same time, I finally got a farmer friend to convince a lab to start glyphosate testing. So we initiated the first glyphosate testing in America. My son was the first one. I sent off his urine, and it was 8 times higher than was found anywhere in Europe at the time. And my son was not like spraying Roundup in the backyard, and he wasn't a farmer, So what I realized was that he was eating wheat, and my other 2 sons who tested negative for glyphosate were not. And he's the one with the autism symptoms, right? The erratic behavior and all of that. And he did have very high levels of bad bacteria and fungus in his gut, by the way. He had C. diff and all of that. He had gut dysbiosis, holes in his small intestines. His gut was messed up. And so we removed anything that could introduce glyphosate into his diet, which was primarily wheat. He was eating wheat. My other 2 were gluten intolerant. They were not. So we took the wheat out of his diet. We went 100% organic. No sugar, by the way, during the holidays through Christmas and Thanksgiving. My son, he was 8 at the time, ate no sugar. And he, within 6 weeks, we retested him. His glyphosate levels were no longer detectable, and his autism symptoms were gone and have never come back.
So he actually purged the glyphosate. It just went through his system. Did you do anything specific to break down the glyphosate toxicity?
That's a great question. So at the time, we didn't know about Acetobacter, which is a bacteria. Oh, well, actually, so we did. Yes, we gave him sauerkraut, but we didn't know at the time that sauerkraut has a good bacteria in it called Acetobacter, which is also in vinegar and kombucha. But every day we gave him some sauerkraut to improve his gut bacteria. And Acetobacter actually has been shown in soil, not in the human gut because the studies haven't been done, but in soil, it breaks apart glyphosate into non-toxic components.
Wow, that is such good news.
Yeah, so you can have sauerkraut, kombucha, or apple cider vinegar every day and apparently, we're not sure, but it could be breaking apart glyphosate in the human gut. We know it does that in the soil. We had no sugar because sugar feeds that bad bacteria. And of course, we didn't introduce any more glyphosate by having him eat 100%. He ate 100% organic. And the reason I want to mention why the wheat part, glyphosate can be sprayed on wheat and peas and beans and legumes and other grains. as a drying agent before harvest. So it's not just sprayed on GMOs. 80% of GMOs are engineered to withstand glyphosate, but it's also sprayed on many crops as a drying agent. And so that's why it's important to go 100% organic in order to give your gut a chance to, have the proper balance of the gut bacteria that you need in order to function properly, for your hormones to work, for your mental health, and behavioral issues, mental health issues, diabetes, even insulin, which is regulated by serotonin, is impacted because serotonin is in your gut, melatonin is in your gut. All of these different things that impact your well-being are found in your gut. So it's very important to avoid glyphosate, to eat organic, and you can see extraordinary behavioral and learning issues resolved, maybe even mental health issues resolved, as well as other health issues, by going organic and giving your body the chance that it needs to rebalance out the microbiome in your gut, the gut bacteria.
That's remarkable. And so there's a tremendous alignment between those symptoms that can result from the gut dysbiosis and the symptoms of autism. Is that just to summarize?
Yeah, it's essential. Like, for instance, Kathleen D. Chiara, who's an author and a nutritionist in Connecticut, has written several books. She said, I don't believe that every child with autism can be recovered by eating organic, but I don't think any child has a chance to recover, right, without eating organic. So there are other factors of autism that come into play, like exposure to electromagnetic frequencies, being on a laptop playing video games all day, or a cell phone, or other forms of electromagnetic frequencies. That what we're seeing is that when the kids eat organic, some of them get completely better. Other ones still have some issues. And then that's where doctors like Dr. Klinghardt says, you have to reduce the electromagnetic frequency as well. And he won't treat patients unless they're willing to do that, unless they're willing to take, not just eat organic, but reduce the electromagnetic frequencies. So there's other things, and other toxins as well. There's other toxins in the environment. There could be lead involved. There could be mercury. There could be fire retardants on couches or pajamas. There's all kinds of toxins in our environment. But eating organic has been shown to be one of the most important things to do.
So you just said so many things, and you actually provided a wonderful, wonderful segue into the conversation around 5G and electromagnetic pollution. And I'm really curious. I was digging around on Moms Across America, and I saw that there's quite extensive information about 5G and also what we can do about it. So on this podcast, we often bring up a lot of things that are frightening to people, or things that, alarming concerns. And we always want to be able to provide a way that people can take action. And so what I love so much about your advocacy is that you are about cultivating activists, as far as I can tell. And I love that, because that's really what we're looking to inspire as well. But I am not as well informed as I'd like to be. And I imagine that a lot of people are hearing about 5G and they too would like to be learning more. Can you share just the foundation? I know that there are tons of research papers talking about the dangers of electromagnetic toxicity. Can you just sort of give us a background on it?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for asking. I want to be clear right up front that when we say 5G, it is usually confused with the 5G technology, which is already being shown to be on our phones by T-Mobile. The TV commercials that you are seeing that say, 5G is coming. Should I be excited about it? No. What can I do? It's that 5G is simply an upgraded 4G. And
that's a relief. That's really a relief to hear.
Yeah, and it comes out of a cell tower that can be 4 miles away. So that is not really the 5G that I'm talking about. They have confused the two, and it's really for marketing purposes. They believe that they called this next, 5G for marketing purposes, that they called it that in order to get us used to this idea of this 5G millimeter wave technology, which is very dangerous. Now I'm not saying the 4G, 5G, 4 mile tower away isn't dangerous, but it's not if you're very far away from it, is what I'm saying. It's the proximity, close proximity, that is the major issue. And let me explain that. So this new technology of the 5G that we're really talking about, the 5G millimeter waves, they're shorter waves, and they need to ride on or sort of be accompanied by 4G, which makes up 2G and 3G, right? Which there are over 8,000 studies on 2G and 3G that show clear harm, including one from the National Toxicology Program that shows clear evidence of causing cancer with exposure to 2G and 3G. And so you've got all of those G's together. And the problem is that they need to be closer together because the 5G millimeter waves are shorter. They need to have these, they call them small cell facilities, right? But they're really cell towers. Let's be real here. They're cell towers, right? And they need to put them every 500 feet, they say. They could be 750 feet. They actually could be 2,000 feet according to their own data, but they're putting them pretty much on every light post, right? That's their goal. Every light post that already exists, they want to put them on top of those, maybe telephone poles, things like that. Any structure. Sometimes they're erecting a 33-foot pole, cement pole in neighborhoods. So they want to put these poles every 500 feet, and they could be as close as 12 feet or 6 feet, or in my town, 33 feet from your home. And they don't need your permission. You can just wake up one day, like they did in the town of Germantown, Maryland. People woke up in one neighborhood to 71 of these cement structures, the base being built for these poles. They have to build like a little rectangular box first. And they woke up and they're like, what are these things? And they went to their city council and they fought it and they won. They at least delayed the contract. But that's what they plan on doing, is creating a smart city grid. It's a network of all of these cell towers, every 500 to 750 feet apart, that they can all talk to each other. And eventually they'll be able to talk to a smart car, right? Your smart phone, your smart refrigerator, your smart coffee maker, your smart TV, all of these, your Alexa that's in your house, all of these appliances that gather our data and also empower you to, or enable you to speak to it, right? Alexa, turn on, Funky Town, or find a chocolate chip recipe, right? Which is very convenient for people. You can tell your house, turn up the temperature, turn down the temperature, TV, turn on, all of that all takes electromagnetic frequencies. And they want that to be the 5G network because it does allow for you to download data faster. You'd be able to download a movie instead of, 2 minutes or 20 seconds, whatever it is now to download a movie, down to maybe 4 or 5 seconds, something like that. It will be very fast. However, the result of that is that you will experience constant radiation and constant data collection. So it's not just for you to download your movies faster, it's for them to upload your data. And when they upload your data, they're going to be giving it to, Pepsi and Coke and all these car companies and pharmaceutical companies. And so just imagine this, like to get where they want to be. You know how when you're you call somebody, somebody new that you've never called before, and then you go on Facebook and all of a sudden, wow, they show up as someone you may know that you might want to like as a friend, right? That happens, right? Or you're talking to somebody about you want to go to a vacation to a safari with Africa, and all of a sudden Facebook, oh, there's an ad for a travel agent.
When you were having a phone conversation.
Yes, when you're having a phone conversation.
Yes.
They want to do that with your smart TV.
Oh, wow.
They want your smart TV. This is my theory, okay? But this is how they want to shape your life, just like they do on Facebook, right? With all the ads that you experience, and then your experience in your car, right? They want to shape your life so that they can expose you to more things so that you can buy more stuff. And in your car,
I have to ask you for a sec.
Sure. Yes.
Because you're saying they a lot. And,
yes.
And there's there's a thing about they and them, what they're
Sure.
doing. And
Yes.
I just have to say, who is they and
Great,
how?
great question. Yeah, it's corporations. It's primarily corporations, and corporations have captured our FCC. The FCC, the man Pai, who's in power now at the FCC, who runs all this wireless telecommunication regulation. He's formerly from, I believe it was Verizon, one of the big companies, and he was out to basically destroy the regulations before he got placed in there. And now he's doing that. He's saying we are not doing any safety testing. We are installing 5G. We're in a race with China. We need to get 5G in. We need to be the most powerful country in the world. We need to have 5G everywhere. And so these telecom companies are on a race to put this in, and it's coming from pressure from corporations and the government to be like a world power, right? But it's also to gather our data.
I'm not really clear how that makes us a world power. I mean, there's a disconnect somewhere. I mean, I get where it's making us more susceptible to advertising and to, and that's the benefit of corporate interest to be able to make us more susceptible to that. But in terms of a world power, that's where I'm missing the connection.
Okay, well, so we're always competing with other countries as far as technology goes, right? So if another country is going to have a technology, the United States wants to have it too. That's just like a basis for, comparison.
Okay.
And when they can gather our data, they can also survey us, right? Any sort of terrorist, any sort of,
there's it's surveillance for sure.
Yeah, any sort of talking about a bomb, so it's not just our data, like how many times we click on, an ad on Amazon or something like that, which they will have, and they'll be able to shape our TV commercials that way. But they'll also be able to flag people who are, terrorists and doing terrorist behavior. Hopefully they'd be able to do this with pedophiles and stuff like that too. I don't know. But I don't think the trade-off is that great for the majority of America, because we're going to be exposed to this constant radiation.
So let's back up just to get a little bit more clear on what the medical threat is, like what the hazard is with this radiation.
Yes. Okay. So one thing I want to say too is that the 5G millimeter waves have a tough time coming through walls. So people who are pro 5G will be, oh, this is ridiculous. It doesn't get through walls. It's not going to be that big a problem. Well, the thing is, it comes with 4G and 2G and 3G, right? And it will come with a little router type of thing that you need to put in your house to pull that information in. And your smart appliances will also pull that in, that radiation in, and or frequencies, the radio frequencies in. And for instance, my friend said she recently was looking up, on her phone, the different networks that were available, and her smart refrigerator showed up.
Wow.
So I'll get to the health things in a second. But so the idea is, if you pull milk out of your refrigerator, that little barcode thing, the refrigerator will know that you have pulled the milk out. And then when you're driving down the street, your smart car or your smartphone will tell you, Walgreens, which has smart technology already too, 5G, that, in 200 feet, turn right to go to Walgreens to pick up your milk, or to, Walmart, or turn left to go to Walgreens to get your prescription, which Big Pharma would love to remind you to get your prescription, right? Wow. So that's that smart technology where the things will all be talking to each other. They're going to say that it's going to be very convenient. They're going to say that it's going to increase emergency response, which it really doesn't. This is about downloading data. It's not about telephone calls. It's about downloading data. Mm-hmm. So, and the International Firefighters Agency, to get into the health now, has banned. They have put a moratorium on having these cell towers on their property because of the health issues.
Now, this isn't even 5G that they've banned, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. It was just all cell towers. There might have been a 4/5G cell tower that they were trying out, and there's two places in Los Angeles and California. Mm-hmm. But it's just cell towers in general. Which includes 4/5G now. They did install some on some firefighters' premises with the premise of this will increase your ability to get those emergency phone calls, right? This is very important technology. They did, and they have highly documented evidence of headaches and fatigue and tinnitus and even confusion. The firefighters lost their way. So these electromagnetic frequencies have an impact on the brain. They have an impact on your overall health. There are many phone calls that I've written down notes for that I've gotten recently of people that have called to tell me, a pole was put up 1,000 feet away, right across the street from my kid's school. I live down the street. My kids within a few days have had nosebleeds, headaches, tinnitus, fatigue, irritability, like they're aggressive and they're, irritable. And I have a constant headache and I don't know, what to do. How can I sue? Well, the problem is, folks, once the pole is up and on, it is very difficult to get it to be turned off because now it is their asset. That telecom company has an asset. It costs them, could be $5,000 or $20,000 per pole to put these in. And so that's why we are so passionate right now about educating people about these poles, not the poles, this technology, this smart city grid technology, not just 5G, smart city grid technology, because it will infiltrate your neighborhoods. And for instance, I have seen the paperwork on Dallas has approved 966 of them, and they are looking for where to put 10,000 of these 5G small cell nodes.
Wow.
And this has happened in Wuhan, where, the coronavirus was initially started, and people have speculated that the severity of coronavirus there could be connected to the presence of 5G. And there is some legitimacy to that. We can't say that it causes it, but
there's a correlation.
There's a correlation. 5G and 2G and 3G and 4G, right, have been shown to weaken the immune system. So if you have a weakened immune system, you may be more likely to have severe reactions to viruses, right? It makes sense.
Right.
The other thing it's been shown to do is to reduce fertility. So male rats that were exposed, within minutes, their sperm began to change. Within days or weeks, they had dramatically reduced sperm capability, either the function or the speed or the shape of it, the way that it was formed. And so we know that this electromagnetic frequency, these radio frequency radiations can impact fertility in males and in females. It can also impact females as well. It also can cause cancer. Within 1,500 feet, numerous studies have shown the increase of cancer 200 to 300% of cell towers, near cell towers. And so we're taking these cell towers now that are normally a couple miles away from all of us, up on hills and all of that, and we're putting them right in our neighborhoods. That's the problem. It's the close proximity, and it's the constant radiation. Like they don't, these aren't just on a little bit. They're on, right? If you have your appliance that needs a connection, like your Bluetooth, those are the worst, by the way, guys. Those cordless Bluetooth earbuds that you put
earbuds.
That's like putting a microwave on both sides of your brain, and you have no skull there where your ear is to block the radio frequency radiation. So you are getting microwaved right into your brain. Do not use those wireless Bluetooth things. Use the ones with cords. Ideally, I think there's one with like air or whatever. There's ones with cords that are much better. So there's many health repercussions. I would go to environmentalhealthtrust.org to see the science. They have reported to me over 8,000 studies that have gone back to 1906. One by Marconi, I believe, 1906 on an island. He exposed bees to the radio frequency radiation, and over 90%, or maybe even it was 100% of them either died or flew away. Like they had a very bad reaction to the radio frequency radiation. So there's an impact on bees. There's an impact on birds, on plants. It causes the plants to create a chemical which has them be more highly flammable.
Wow.
Yeah, these cell towers have been linked to increased fires. So we don't need these in our neighborhoods. We don't need faster download speeds.
We don't need our refrigerator to tell us when to buy milk, actually.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. We don't need a movie to be downloaded in 4 seconds instead of 20 seconds. We can wait a little bit. You know, and also the alternative is fiber optics, which is safer, faster. It's like light speed. It's less likely to be hacked. You know, all these little small cell facility nodes, those things can be hacked, right? So a fiber optic cable under your house, which most people already have, is faster and safer. And you just buy an adapter like this for your laptop and a cord, a shielded Ethernet cord. So it looks like your jack, right? You get these cords and you plug it into your adapter and you plug it into your laptop or your cell phone. There's another one with another shape for your cell phone. And then you're hardwired. And the numbers for the exposure to radio frequency radiation, which I take with this device right here. This is the Safe and Sound Pro 2. It's the best one out there because it shows the peaks. It shows not just the average, which is what most people talk about. It shows the peaks, which can be very harmful, right? And this shows that when your laptop is on just regular use, maybe 350,000 microwatts. Above 1,000 is harmful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, people say above 2,700 is when your DNA can start to be altered.
Wow.
And that's what I've heard. I haven't seen the study on that, but that's what it has been reported. So when you plug it in to an adapter, it's below 2. The exposure is below 2 or around 2. Could be 4 or 5, something like that. Same thing with your cell phone. If your cell phone is on and you're watching a video, you're talking 2.5 million microwatts.
Wow.
And above 1,000 is harmful. So this is why when you're on the phone for a long time, even holding it like this with somebody talking, your especially your left ear starts to hurt. You start to feel, at least I do. I start to feel like pressure or warmth right here. And that's the electromagnetic frequencies. That's
wow.
the impact of that. And
so let me ask, when you've been exposed, if you stop the exposure, does the impact of it go away? Does it dissipate, or is it cumulative?
Yes, it can be reduced dramatically. In fact, when the night that we turned off Wi-Fi and we got the hardwired and everything, I slept, I think it was like 11 hours. I slept so much better. I slept so much more deeply. I used to have my phone by my bed, plugged in, charging all night, right by my head. That is like the worst thing you can do, folks. I mean, some people, leaving them on is even worse, right? But even turning them on airplane mode and charging them is not good, because the plug going into the phone charging does create they call it dirty electricity. It's not as dangerous as when it's on and playing a video, but it is still emitting electromagnetic frequencies that disrupt your what do they call it? Circadian rhythms. Your circadian rhythm. And while you're sleeping, that's when 80% of your healing happens. So if you're sick or not feeling well or just having a stressed out day, you're not going to sleep as well when you've got anything with electromagnetic frequency by you at night. That's why the most important thing to do is even if you don't get hardwired right away, just turn your Wi-Fi off at night. Take that one first step, turn your Wi-Fi off at night. You will see that you sleep better.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah. And then eventually get these cords. They cost maybe $20 or $40, depending on how many cords you need online. Start plugging stuff in. We didn't put it all through the walls and all that kind of stuff. We just put it along the edge of the walls and taped it on so people don't trip over it, and get hardwired. And then you can turn your Wi-Fi off entirely. So you don't have Wi-Fi going on in your house at all. And of course, unplug and get rid of Alexa. And, I don't know what to do about the smart refrigerators and the smart TVs right now, except that your smart TV won't work on, it works, but it doesn't, because it's plugged into your router, but it won't work for Wi-Fi. If you want to, for instance, Chromecast something to your TV, you do have to turn on like a booster or Wi-Fi on again to do that. So
watch TV, you have to do Wi-Fi.
Well, no, to regular TV, it's plugged in. You'll have jacks on. Your regular TV is fine. But if you want to Chromecast from your laptop to your TV, your smart TV, which everybody pretty much has smart TVs now, about 10 years ago, they stopped selling the regular TVs and they switched over in getting prepared for this, getting prepared for smart cities, right? And so you still have to, do some Wi-Fi if you want to Chromecast a movie. So there are some slight inconveniences. You do have to have the adapters and the cords in certain areas of your house. If you want to sit down on your couch and use your phone without big EMFing yourself, then you do need to have a cord there and an adapter. But to me, I find that it's worth it. I know too much now to do anything else.
So I think you've terrified people amply,
Okay.
which sometimes that's the motivation that we need to take action, right?
Yeah. Well, you can't. I'm just saying, $40, a bunch of cords. Go online, get it, plug it in. You will feel better. And if you want to do something about these 5G smart grid cities, smart city grids in your city,
that's where I was headed. Great.
Okay. Then you start to go to, for instance, 5gcrisis.com. They have a list of all kinds of different groups that you can join. First look to see if there's a group in your area. And if there's not a group in their area, they have a very nice, very good video about how to start a group. And you want to gather people in your neighborhood. And the best way to do that is to contact your city commissioner. That's through your city hall, like your website, and email them. Don't call them, email them, because you want it in writing, and ask them for the addresses, the exact addresses of the pending or current small cell wireless facilities in your city. Don't say 5G, because they'll say, oh, we have no plans for 5G, because the telecom companies aren't installing these as 5G. They're installing these as 4G that they're going to upgrade to 5G. Okay, so it's semantics. You have to ask for small cell wireless telecommunication facilities and antennas, like, any facilities related to wireless technology. What are the exact addresses of the pending and current locations? They have to give them to you. They may ask you to sign a Freedom of Information Act. They may make it a little more difficult for you. They're allowed to do that. You need to do that if you want the information. So just do that. They will give you the information. And once you have those addresses, you can then take a very well-written letter that's also on the 5G Crisis Toolkit website. They have a toolkit.
I just want to interrupt you for 1 second to say that we're going to have these addresses on our website. So people watching this will be able to find it in the links.
Great.
On sustainabilitynow.global also.
Great. So, thank you. And so you just go to those toolkits, you download the letter for your neighborhood, and then you bring those to the neighbors that live around those addresses. So they will be the ones that will be the most motivated to do something about this. And you put on there the name of the group that you've started, the Facebook group, or usually that's what people start, right, is a Facebook group, or maybe an Instagram group, but I don't think that's as convenient. You can also post on Nextdoor, but I've been banned and removed for posting on 5G on Nextdoor, so you have to be very careful not to get on a soapbox. I've only had 1 out of 5 of my posts remain. And so even posting about a city commissioner meeting or a city council meeting about 5G could have you be banned from Nextdoor.
That in itself is alarming, actually.
It is very alarming. Yeah, that our community connecting type of, networks are banning communication about this is very alarming. So, but you want to gather your neighbors, and you want to find out when is the next hearing. They have to have public hearings about this. They must have public hearings. You are allowed 3 minutes to speak on that topic on the agenda, or just on regular public comments. You can speak if it's not on the agenda, you can speak in the very beginning. If it is on the agenda, you can speak during that time. You only get 3 minutes. They will cut you off, but you can arrange it so that the different people that live around those poles are all talking about different topics on, so they each get 3 minutes, and you can cover many different topics. And we have many of those topics available for you on momsacrossamerica.org under action on Stop 5G Grids, right? Because we're talking about the whole network for your city. And on talking points, we have actually some 3-minute segments that we have already prepared. So you can use that. You can use the information from 5G Crisis. You can use the information from Environmental Health Trust, and the website is ehtrust.org.
Beautiful.
Also, We Are the Evidence has a lot of information for people who have been harmed from electromagnetic frequencies. And Children's Health Defense has also a great amount of information, and they have filed a lawsuit against the FCC requesting or demanding that they update their regulations about this, because the regulations were made 20 years ago. They were about telegraphs and telephone poles. They weren't really, or maybe 2G and 3G. They weren't about 4G and 5G and this whole network grid. So those are the first things to do. Look for a group. If there isn't one, create a group, get the addresses of where these things are going to be installed. Then start asking those neighbors to get together and be in a group and speak up at your city commissioner meeting. If it passes, you may need to appeal it and then go to your city council. And it's a really good idea to start trying to meet with your city council members individually, one-on-one, to educate them about this. And there are experts that are actually willing to either come to your city, and they probably can't come there right now, but they could be on Skype and speak to them, individually. There's one named Cece Doucette that we have on our website on the very first page when you go all the way down. She has a 1-hour presentation she did in front of a town, a city council, which is excellent. So there's lots of
even
resources.
Share that.
Yes, yeah, you could share that with them. I don't know that they'll watch it, but if you ask them for a one-on-one meeting to share information with them, you could perhaps bring that. You could play part of it. You could have a discussion with, you could bring an engineer. Like I found in my area, an engineer that's very passionate about this. I was able to also bring a lawyer with me at one time, because Daphne Tackover from Children's Health Defense was in the area doing a talk. And so there are times when people like that will, come to your city, and you can set up an appointment with your city staff. You'll mostly be meeting with the city staff, sometimes not the city council members or the city commissioners, but, do that. Like, don't assume that somebody else is going to do something about this in your town. If you're hearing about this for the first time, probably nobody else in your town has either, just most likely. So be the one to do something about this, because if you don't, once the polls are put up, people are reporting really, bad, inconvenient, terrible side effects. And it's very difficult to get them turned off or taken down afterwards.
What's your sense of the progress that's actually being made, the headway or inroads into combating this or curtailing it?
Well, Easton, Connecticut recently passed a resolution that their resolution, it's basically a moratorium. They're not going to approve any more 5G installations until the technology is proven safe. And that this stands for the next 7 months. They're going to revisit it after that. So they basically just put a giant pause button on 5G. Now, I don't think legally they're allowed to just say ban, we're never going to have it again, because currently the FCC laws state that a municipality, a state or city cannot refuse the installation of wireless technology, especially not based on environmental reasons. And they're interpreting that to mean health, right? So my city commissioners told me, you cannot talk about health. And 6 out of 10 of the comments that we submitted recently to oppose 2 poles, 2 4G that will eventually be 5G facilities in my town, they said we are not going to read them because any comments about health are excessive and superfluous. Like they don't apply to this issue, because apparently the FCC has said that the city, city attorneys and city staff members cannot consider the health impacts and the radio frequency emissions, the impacts of the RFRs from the polls. So they didn't even read those comments. Now, I believe that was a violation of civil rights. I don't know, we still need to talk to some lawyers about that. But this is what the city attorneys are being told, and the city attorneys are then telling our city commissioners and city council members that. So this is a civil rights issue as well, I believe. The telecom industry is forcing a technology and pollution, and as you referred to in the very beginning, an environmental pollution, on our cities. And the only way to stop this is if many of us speak up and educate our city council members and city attorneys and ask them to please pass a resolution to stop 5G for at least, 6 months, 7 months, 9 months, until more of these lawsuits are finalized. Several of these lawsuits are making progress. I think there's 63 cities in California that filed in District 9, and that court hearing is being held out.
Who are they suing?
I don't know the exact details of the case, but I know that the results could mean that the municipalities could have control, local jurisdiction.
The fact that the municipalities don't have control in itself is egregious.
It is. It's appalling. And the fact that they won't allow residents to talk about the health impacts of it. And
it's insane.
It's insane. And to top it off, these telecom industries don't have insurance. They can't get insured for this technology. The insurance companies won't insure them. So what happens when somebody with brain cancer, which has happened up in San Francisco already, a woman had a pole put up 12 feet outside of her home, and within 7 months she had brain cancer. What happens when these people start suing? It could bankrupt our city coffers. Now, the city attorneys
why wouldn't they bankrupt why wouldn't they sue the telecom companies?
Well, they could, but it's the cities that actually allowed it to be put in. So, they could sue both,
But you just said the cities don't have the power to be able to deny the installation of these things. Is that true?
Well, that's how they're interpreting it. That's based on environmental effects. So the city attorneys are the ones that are actually listening to telecom and saying that includes health effects. And it actually doesn't. They can actually refuse these based on health effects, but it would have to be determined in court, right? Because one party's saying one thing, another party's saying another thing. So you'd have to go to court about that, and nobody's done that yet. So these 63 cities that have sued based on wanting their own, jurisdiction in their municipality, that case could happen, could be finalized any day or any month now, and that could change everything for us. Somebody could take a civil rights lawsuit, perhaps, to court saying, we have the right to talk about health effects, and that could win.
I wonder if you could take an environmental lawsuit as well.
We could. Look at Standing Rock. They just won based on the fact that an environmental study was not done before the pipeline was put in up in South Dakota. And they won. It took 2 years, but they won. So that's a possibility as well. But right now they're saying that because the levels, and I have to get back to this regarding what the city attorney has said, that residents can't sue the city, right, and bankrupt them. They're saying because the cities aren't liable for actions that they take or don't take based on federal law, right? So the same thing that you just said, well, they can't sue us because this is based on federal law. Well, if the telecom companies' emissions stay within the FCC limits, then yes, there are grounds for not being able to sue. But many of these poles, these cell towers, go over FCC limits. And if they exceed the FCC limits, then a city can sue. And Simi Valley has recently done that. They have detected levels over the FCC limits being emitted out of the pole, and they have therefore sued. So there is a way, right, for residents to sue the city or the telecom companies, and this could mean very serious, high payments that need to be paid out by somebody.
Well, hopefully it means the deconstruction of these facilities as well, right?
Yeah, yes. But it's extremely disturbing to me that it has to go to that. Somebody has to be hurt. We've already had 4 students and 3 teachers in Ripon, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Ripon, California. That cell tower was built right on their school property, and 4 students and 3 teachers got cancer. And
in what period of time did this happen?
I believe it was within about a year or two. It wasn't a very long time.
Wow.
It might have just been a year. So that that's a sign. You can't say it causes. There might have been toxins in the water. There might have been other things going on, but things like that are already being reported from other places as well. There's a lawyer in New York that said a professional a businessman came to him and said the pole was put up outside of his apartment, and he sleeps on a certain side of his head, and that ear facing the pole went deaf within 2 weeks.
Wow.
So there's many health effects that could happen, and that will happen if these are put in your city or state. And so I just urge everybody to get informed and to speak up. Hawaii just banned them, or did a resolution, right?
Oh, that's great
them.
news.
Yeah, Hawaii did. And there are, I believe, 34 cities or countries around the world. There's many places that have put restrictions on or banned it. Israel, and I think France. I mean, there's many places where they don't allow it in schools. Russia actually just is saying no 5G, no Wi-Fi in schools. Right. And so there are many places where they are, putting in some restrictions. But we need to speak up to have this happen. Our city council members,
we all
need to
speak up. Yes, we don't get the luxury of letting ourselves wait for somebody else to do it.
Yes. Yeah. It's up to us, and your voice does matter, and it does make a difference. And you don't need to be an engineer in order to speak about this. You can just say, I'm concerned about this. I'm asking you to look at this information on this website, right? That has the science, that has the technology. And I'm asking you to not install this until it's proven safe. That is very reasonable, right?
Absolutely.
And or proven safe, and or has insurance, right? This whole insurance issue. If they can't get insurance, that's a major red flag. So I know it's a lot of information that I just gave you, but it's
essential.
It's essential, yeah.
Please, and it's urgent because this is happening now.
Yes, it's happening right now. I just got another picture last week from a pole that was put up in a school in California, a cell tower right in the middle of a basketball court.
Oh my heavens!
Right, in a school, because the schools get $10,000. They could get, for instance, $10,000 a month for installing these cell towers.
Oh, that's a big incentive.
Yes, it's a big incentive. So just be aware that when these schools do open back up and your kids can go to school, you may be subjecting them to high levels of radio frequency radiation.
So it looks to me like we should be also speaking to our school boards.
Absolutely, yes. And they have the ability to stop this. They're not over. They have jurisdiction, right? The government cannot force a school to do this. And also a school has the legal obligation to provide a safe learning environment. It's against the penal code for them to do something which is harmful to children. So there's a very good chance that you can stop this, especially in your school.
And there may be a chance, even if there's been a tower installed, that it could be removed based on those.
Yes, at least, it would have to go turned off. Yeah, at least turned off. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to ask you, this is just one of many fronts that you are really engaged and active in. And how do you stay positive? Because it's so overwhelming. How do you do that?
Well, that's a good question. When I start to get down or feel despair, I really look to what other people are doing, and I am encouraged by what they're doing. I'm inspired by that, other people are continuing to go on. And I look for ways to acknowledge people. And I find, somebody that's doing great things, like Easton, Connecticut, the mom there that just said, I don't want this in my town. And I look for ways to, write an article about that and highlight the good things that are happening, right? This is something great that's happened. Here's a win. We've had success in this area. I look for the successes. I look for the small steps that we take going forward, and I make them bigger, and I share them and make sure that everybody knows about these small good things which are actually quite big, right?
Yes.
For a city to not have 5G. So they seem small though, because it's happening so many places that, but that's what I mostly look for, the good things that are happening. And I look at the future that I'm committed to creating. I am really clear that I'm committed to a future of health and freedom. I'm really clear that I can do something about that. That I'm not going to wait for someone else to do something about this. I am going to transform health and the food industry and health in America, not by myself, but I'm not going to wait for someone else to do this. So I'm clear about my vision for the world, and I'm clear that I can take that action. And every day I look for what action can I take. And every breakdown that happens, I look for an opportunity to create a breakthrough. And that is crucial, I think, rather than getting sort of trapped under a rock of a breakdown, right? And stopped. I look for, okay, how can I bust through this rock or get around this rock, or, like a river, right? Flow around the rock and keep going. And so I think we just take our cues from Mother Nature a lot. Nature always finds a way. And if we just keep doing that and we keep coming from love, I love my family more than anything in the world, and I will do whatever it takes to protect them and create a healthy future for them. And I just get present to that, and I have unlimited amounts of fuel and energy to do that.
Well, Zen, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your fierceness and your commitment and your vision and your willingness to be on the front line. And for everyone listening, Zen's book is called Unstoppable. And we are going to have links for all these resources on our website at sustainabilitynow.global. And Zen, I just want to ask you before we wrap up, if there's anything I should have asked you that I didn't.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I just like to say, if you want to get involved, with Moms Across America, go to momsacrossamerica.org. Again, mothers and others, and click on our sign up for our email alerts and our newsletter. We have a call on most Monday nights, as long as it's not a holiday or traveling. Monday nights, it's called a Moms Connect call. And you can get on a call with other people from all across the country, and we address the current issues that are going on and support you in how you can make a difference to create healthy communities in your area. I have a podcast also called Unstoppable with Zen Honeycutt. I have about 66 episodes on there now, and many of them are about 5G. So if you were interested in what I said today, but would like to delve deeper in how to do certain things, then please do go to my podcast, Unstoppable with Zen Honeycutt. And also my book, which you can see an image of in the back, is called Unstoppable: Transforming Sickness and Struggle into Triumph, Empowerment, and a Celebration of Community. Is available on Amazon in English and in Japanese.
Beautiful. Thank you again. And I want to say thank you to my co-founder and producer, Scott Billy, and to all of you who are listening and watching and sharing. You're the ones that make it happen. We all get to do this together. Your voice matters. And I'm just so grateful to the passion that we can all bring to creating a better world. So that's it for today. I'm your host, Mira Rubin. Until next time, live the life you love the world around you, and together we can save the world.
Thank you for listening to Sustainability Now. Visit sustainabilitynow.global to find resources related to today's program. While you're there, pledge your support by making a contribution to help us shape a world that works. And remember to subscribe, share, and follow us on social media.